Hi, this is Guy for KCBME, which stands for Kingdom Chamber of Business, Ministry, and Education. So, when I was in my 20s, I read the passage that says you cannot serve God and mammon. And it was one of those light bulb moments where I got hit over the head by an angel with a 2 by 4. And I stopped and I said, but hang on, that means there's two systems. So I began to pray about that and I began to say, but God, we've only been taught one system, which is the mammon or the world system. So if there's two systems, there's something that we need to know about as to your system and how does your system operate. And so then I continued my prayer life around that, focused on that for the next 40 years. But effectively, the prayer was, God, I want to know your heart. I want to know how you see things. If you had to have a strategy for business, what would it look like? If you had to build a financial system, what would it look like? And if you had to, say, build an MLM, what would that look like? And how would you do it with the wisdom of heaven? And how would you do it the right way? Well, the more that I went down that road and the more I asked those questions, the more I was discovering answers that generally Christians don't have. And here's something very simple and profound. And that is that Jesus invites us to knock and to ask questions. He says, where two or more of you are gathered together in my name, I'll be there. Where two of you agree on something, it will be done for you. Ask and it will be answered. But later in the Bible, we read that you ask and you pray, but your prayer is not answered because one, you ask amiss. In other words, you're asking the wrong questions. And the other reason why your prayers are not asked is because you asked for your own selfish gain and greed. In other words, you're putting your own want, your own lust, your own agendas in front of what God wants. So when we start learning to ask the questions that God wants us to ask according to his heart, his way, we begin to discover that there is a wisdom which is high and above and a wisdom which is low. And this wisdom which is low is in fact dumbs us down. It doesn't really help us. It gives us rabbit trails to run down. And between these two levels of wisdom, the wisdom of the world and the wisdom of heaven, is what I refer to as the great divide. And that great divide is almost impossible to cross because my people perish for a lack of knowledge. So knowledge is all in power, is all important. It's why we lay KCBME on a foundation of knowledge. The knowledge you get at the world is not the right knowledge. It's the wrong knowledge in this context. We point you towards the wisdom that comes from above, from the mind of Christ, from knowledge and wisdom and strategies for your business with the heart of God done his way. So start praying to God, what is the difference? Start showing me the difference. Show me your heart and show me your wisdom and insight for my business, ministry, faith, finances, and future. And let's walk through that together. So welcome to KCBME. I'd love to see you in a chapter. Maybe start a kingdom hub in your own community. And let's get together and see what the Lord's going to do in your life. It'll be awesome. I'll see you in the next broadcast.